You must have met thousands of people over the years doing your first aid work. And
Yes, yeah, yeah.
do, do you think many people actually walk the Camino for religious or spiritual reasons now?
That's a good question. That's a good question. The Catholics that are doing it,
Mm,
you won't know unless you speak to them because they're
mm,
not evangelical. They're content within their
mm,
beliefs, and they carry their rosary quietly. And you would sometimes you would never even know the deep way they're doing it unless you keep seeing them coming out of churches at certain times. Um, you never get evangelical types, the types that stand on street corners and ask you if you've been saved and so on. They never seem to go. I would say the majority of people, if the conversation ever comes up, will always come up with that modern thing is I'm spiritual, not religious.
yeah.
And really, that means, what does it mean? It most likely means I feel this otherness, but I won't be bound by restricted dogma.
Mm,
And you get other people go, no, I just like a nice walk, long
yeah.
walk. But of course, they can have a long walk at home. It's more than
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I think everyone's called. I do. I don't know what by. I don't know who
Yeah.
I pray to, but I think they're called. You know how it works. Must only happen with you.
Yeah.
Is that something happened? Is it was mentioned, or there was some anecdote on the TV, or this
Mm.
or that, and you thought, oh, I wonder, that sounds interesting. Then you forgot about it, and then you met somebody who'd done it, and then you forgot about it,
Oh,
and then
I didn't. As soon as I heard about it, I wanted to go.
oh, did you? Oh, well played. Oh, well played.
It took me 2 years to plan my life to enable me to do it.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I met a Brazilian guy, Catholic,
Mm,
who he'd saved for 8 years to be able to do
mm.
it. 8 years.
But it's
Yeah.
interesting what you say about, I'm spiritual but not religious. I kind of describe myself like that. And yet on Camino, I'm almost like a devout Catholic. I'm
Yes.
almost going into every church and I'm lighting candles for people. And,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know, if I was a Catholic, I'd probably be praying the rosary.
Yeah.
um, but it's something about that path.
Yes.
It draws
Yeah.
you, and I feel I'm drawn into the churches and the wayside crosses. And I mean, it sounds weird, but walking along some of those Roman roads, you feel like millions of pilgrims have walked before you, and it's a very profound experience, I find. And then people say to me, "Do you hike a lot at home?" And I go, "No, not at all."
Exactly.
It's got
Exactly.
nothing to do with hiking.
No, exactly. I'm not a walker. I mean,
No,
I'm not, is that if I
I'll get the
walk
car to
anywhere
go to the
here,
shops.
yeah, if I walk anywhere here, I have to have a purpose. All my
Yeah,
friends, if I go around for a cup of tea, they go, right, should we go off and walk to, and I go,
yeah,
why? Just show me a picture. I don't need to do
yeah,
it.
yeah.
But there, we walk, but you're right, there's something about it. It's not a long walk. Well, it is a long walk, but I don't know what it is. I remember once, oh, it was years ago, before Sam Bowl on the Camino, I went up.
Sunball.
Yeah, just you go out of Burgos and then
Cornelius.
yeah, you go.
Cornelius
But it was out.
Fontanas.
I was out in the country. Excuse
Mm,
me, and I went out at night and walked out up onto that red rocky track, and there was no moon, but it was clear and there were
mm.
stars, so I could see my way. And I'm absolutely certain that I could. I know it's silly, really, but I could just feel just all these pilgrims around me, almost
Yeah.
sort of touching. It was like because there was nothing else there, you could feel it more. And I think
There's
when
an
you're
energy.
walking during the yes, and when you're walking during the day, you are surrounded by that.
Mm,
It's
I think so.
and people that don't go to churches are drawn into
Mm,
them. And then they don't know why, and also they don't know what to do.
yeah.
But there's a stillness and a
It's funny. There's a lady you and I both know, um, who's a nun. She's Buddhist,
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And she described to me, because I said to her, it's funny, I go into some churches and I feel nothing, but some I go into, and particularly on the Camino, and there's an energy. And she said, you should come into the biggest Buddhist temple in Myanmar. You feel the energy in that.
Yeah.
Wow, you know. Yeah. It's
She
like
changed. Yeah.
I go into some of the cathedrals, and they're like Leon Cathedral and places like that. I don't feel anything there. It's like it's a tourist.
No, no. And Burgos terrifies me. There's something about the square. The first time I walked into the big square in front of Burgos Cathedral, I just felt blood and violence. I don't know what
Really?
they did in that square. It was awful. I don't like it. But eventually, on the third year, I went into Burgos Cathedral.
Yeah.
And I thought, where's the church? I mean, there's vast amounts of gold and all these chapels put up by people spending loads of money to outdo the people that spent loads of money on the other chapel. But where is the church? I couldn't see it. It was one of the most non-religious buildings I'd ever been in. I mean, I know other people have wonderful experiences.
But yeah, when you contrast that with some of the little chapels that you find along the way, I mean, those that are open, I pop into those and sit for a bit, and they're a really nice place to be.
There's a small chapel somewhere. It's usually closed. And when the doors are open, it has bars. Might be Rabanel del Camino. It's as you walk up. It's after Astorga. It's as you walk up. It's on the right. The first time I went along there, the doors were back and there were the gates. So inside. It's just one of those, just gold and candles, and effigies, all sorts of things. And the old woman who looked after it was just sitting there on a stool, and I didn't even know it was there. And I sort of looked. I walked over. I fell to my knees. I didn't kneel. I just literally fell to my knees, and just tears came to my eyes. And I don't know what that is. I don't know, but we all feel that. Well, most of us all feel this on Camino. There is something
Absolutely
deep and accessible, and it's accessible.
I was quite stunned on my first one, and it's I always say to people, it's very different walking a Camino on your own to walking with someone.
Oh, absolutely.
I would always try and walk on my own.
Yes.
Because you feel these different energies, I think, and I mean, I thought I might tell some of those stories on a video one day, but there was some things that happened which were just incredible.
Yes, absolutely. And the thing about walking I mean, I always advise people to walk on their own. When people say to me they're going to go, they say, "Oh, I'll bring my friend so and so." Don't.
Yeah.
But I'll be alone. I go, "No, you won't be alone." But those moments when you're walking, if you're alone, you stop at those moments.
Yes.
You actually stop. If you're with somebody else, you don't stop. You miss it. It's a subtle thing. It's subtle.
Yeah, it's almost like I found on that first one, I walked most of it on my own. Like you say, you're alone, but not necessarily lonely.
Yeah.
Not on the Camino Francis. And little things would happen, and almost every day, and I go, I get it. Okay, I get that lesson. You notice, you're just aware of everything, and some little thing happens, and you go, okay, I understand.
Yeah.
There's a lesson every day almost.
Yeah. It's Jung said that there was no such thing as coincidence. There's coincidence. And we see coincidences out in this world, but this world is so busy that they could be missed. Whereas on Camino, where everything's stripped away, they happen all the time. It becomes, I mean, they happen everywhere all the time. It becomes, and once it's happened a few times, these different coincidences, this odd meet, this stop here, this, and then it does become quite magical in a religious sense.
Yes, no, it does.